Are you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan?
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Ami Houde.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Ami Houde, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. I'm your host, Jim Beaver, rocking and rolling here on another Monday morning. I got to ask you, what did you think of that new intro? We had been working on that for quite some time. Had a lot of fun with it, changing it up. I don't know, about every 6-8 months we decide to swap things up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and that's what we were left with this go-around. So I think we're going to roll with it, but I like it. It kind of gives a good introduction to what we're all about, and that's having fun here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show. And that being said, man, the guest lineup today is pretty awesome. Got a lot of guys from all different walks of motorsports calling in today. Kicking things off, my good friend from Australia, Brendan Reeves, Brendo as he's known. He's going to be calling in. He is actually running the New England Forest Rally this weekend. I will be hopping on a plane here on Wednesday, heading up to the Super Bowl of Stage Rally in the United States. That going down this weekend. But Brendan Reeves, he's going to be piloting an M Sport entry from Europe. Big opportunity for Brendan, and we're going to catch up with him. Should be a great interview. It's been, probably a year and a half, 2 years maybe since we've had him on air. I've been hiding out in Australia, so going to be great to catch up with him. And then Loren Healy, a guy who needs no introduction. If you're in the off-road world, you know who Loren Healy is. Last year, he was the DirtSports Driver of the Year, encompassing all of off-road. And he also just won Glen Helen, the Ultra 4 race this past weekend, two-time King of the Hammers champ. And we're going to be catching up with Loren Healy here in the first hour. And then second hour, we're going to have Dani Medin. She's going to be calling in. We're going to talk a little two-wheel action. We're going to have Brad the Bullet Baker coming off a big win at the Indy Mile. He's going to be calling in with Dani Medin and talk a little bit of flat track, something new we're kind of feeling out here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Ever since flat track jumped into the X Games, seems like it's it's kind of getting, it's been around for a long time. It's really getting some legs, in motorsports. And obviously, if X Games are going to carry it, we need to cover it here on air. And Brad the Bullet Baker going to be definitely a fun interview. Probably talk a little Harley Davidson and who knows what else with him. And then capping off the show, Ami Houde, my partner in crime, as you saw in the introduction. She's here to stay, and it's going to be great having her. And her and I, big news breaking this weekend, probably trumping everything. I mean, we had Revolution Day with Nitro Circus, guys pulling quadruple backflips on BMX bikes, the Mint 400 airing on TV. But honestly, trumping all of that, Ryan Villopoto announcing his retirement from competition. So we're going to dissect that with Ami Houde. Definitely go over to promotocross.com if you haven't already. Ryan Villopoto, they've got his farewell letter to fans. I'm sure every motorcycle outlet in the world is carrying it at this point. But, coming off that bad crash earlier in the year, Villopoto announcing his retirement. We all knew he was going to retire at some point. I thought he had another year or two left. Obviously, if he wanted to, he's got plenty of years left. But I really thought we'd see him do MXGP another year. But he's waving the white flag, throwing in the towel. And to be honest with you, the guy can't really accomplish more. I mean, literally one of the greatest riders to ever set foot on a dirt bike, announcing his retirement. So we'll definitely dive into that with Ami Houde in the second hour here. And we've also got some TORC racing that we're going to be covering. And obviously we're going to talk some Mint 400, Nitro Circus Revolution Day, and quite a bit else that's going to pop in here and there on the show today. But speaking of Revolution Day, I don't know if you caught that. It was it was a great 3 hours there on NBC this weekend. They even threw in a little Red Bull GRC love with some commercial spots. You got to love it. Running the Mint 400, which Martelli Brothers, tip of the cap boys, you did another phenomenal job. Red Bull Signature Series picking it up. And I got to say thanks to Red Bull Signature Series, actually using some photos of my truck to promote it on social media. Kind of cool to get some love from Red Bull. I don't know. I'll definitely take it. But Revolution Day, those of you not familiar with it, Nitro Circus, we had Jed Milden and James Foster both going for the unthinkable quadruple backflip on a BMX bike. They basically packaged it into a 1 hour piece for TV. And they're going to re-air it. I'm sure it'll be online. If you missed it, definitely set the DVRs, find out when they're going to do it, or watch the full episode online somewhere. It's got to be found somewhere. But a great piece, definitely an awesome backstory. And I guess the big news coming out of it, Jed Milden pulled it, quadruple backflip, something I probably, I've actually backflipped bicycles. Now don't get me wrong, it's been into foam pits. I've never done it on a ramp, but just getting the rotation for me, I used to ride a lot of BMX back in the day, and just getting the rotation into a foam pit was tough. I mean, to me, it was like, hucking yourself and pulling back and leading with your head, and it was tough for me to get the rotation for one backflip into a foam pit. For these guys, you see the double, and what was it, Mira way back when, and then triples and now quadruples in this purpose-built ramp. I mean, these guys, I think Chad Kagi in the intro said it best. He goes, it's one of those things where you just, he's like, you have to commit. You have to go in knowing that you are going to land it. He's like, because if there's any doubt in your mind, you're not going to do it, and you're probably going to die. And and we hear that in action motorsports or action sports all the time. Well, action motorsports as well. You could die. Well, the realities are, we could, but it's slim to none. But with these guys, what they're pulling, death is definitely right there. But right now, first guest, Brendan Reeves, calling in. How is everything going, Brendo?
Yeah, great, thanks, Jim. I'm down at Team O'Neill at the moment, having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got to say, man, it's got to be fun for you. I know flying in, what did you fly in yesterday from Australia?
Yeah, flew in yesterday. Very, very tired, but jumping straight into the R2 rally car today has woken me up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, if something will wake you up, it's definitely rally cars, right? Especially one you've never driven before, right? I know you've driven R2s, but you haven't driven this new R2, right?
Yeah, I've never driven this new car. It's 1-litre turbo, so it's going to be quite interesting. But a lot of the other characteristics in the car are quite similar. We've got different suspension as well and brake upgrades, so it's going to be good taking that into the New England Forest Rally.
Yeah, well, we'll get into New England for a minute, but I know, I want to talk a little bit because obviously, most of our listeners know, you've been on the show in the past and you were running Rally America, took a two-wheel drive championship there. I mean, you had an absolute phenomenal year and you didn't even get to run the full year. But since then, what have you been up to? I know you've gone back to Australia. I mean, kind of bring the listeners in the loop because some of them may not be aware of what you've been doing down in Australia.
Yeah, well, we won that championship back in 2013, and it was hard to see where to go after that because it was quite remarkable to turn one rally into 5 and into an actual championship. So we worked hard back in Australia, and I was driving a Mazda 2 there, but in the outright category in Australia, we still would drive the outright back at home. So we had a 2-litre in this car, and it's actually very fast. Competed in rallies like Rally Australia, the World Rally Championship round. That was really cool. So we did the full championship, but we ended up second. It come down to the last event for one of my other competitors, Scott Petto. He's doing the WRC this year in an R5. He just tipped me down the last rally. We got a picture, and it just cost us too much time. So that's what I've been doing there. Not much this year, just some motocross, no rallies until this rally's come up with M Sport. So really excited to get back behind the wheel of a rally car and hone in some great pace notes. We've got a good co-driver there from McLaughlin, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I got to ask you, I mean, getting that initial email or phone call from M Sport, I mean, here you are, you're sitting in Australia, you're kind of, you're driving here and there when you get a chance, but, I mean, what's it like for you? You get all of a sudden get an email or a call from M Sport. I mean, that's almost like a dream come true. I mean, I can handpick the amount of teams in the world I'd want to drive for, and literally M Sport's on the short list.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome experience. To be fair, like I did 2 years in the WRC Academy, which is the Junior World Rally Championship, and that was with this team. So back then we were running 20 to 15 cars, depending on the round. Here it's just 2-car team alongside Hoonigan. So it's going to be a lot of focus on my car, and it's a new car. It's only competed in 2 World Rallies so far. So I think America will want to see this car, and the sound of it is quite awesome. It sounds a lot like an R5 four-wheel drive car. So it's going to be pretty special, and driving for such a good team owned by Malcolm Wilson will be really cool too.
Yeah. Well, and I got to ask you, obviously this R2, you've got a ton of seat time in the previous iteration of the R2. I mean, this new one, I mean, how much, obviously I think this is your first day actually being behind the wheel. I mean, how much have you got to drive it this morning so far?
This morning we're actually in the 1600 R2, so I'm doing some driver training with a driver, and the car has just arrived here, so I've only just seen it for the first time. The team's only flown in today, so unpacking the container and getting the cars out and getting them ready. I'll probably have a drive of the car this evening, and then tomorrow we're doing some corporate rides, and again on Wednesday. So, yeah, driving the old car at the moment and some intuition, and tomorrow hopefully I'll give you some feedback on the car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going into this, obviously, you've got experience at New England before. You did this in 2013 when you won the championship. What are the predictions? I mean, what are you guys expecting out of this? Obviously, this is your first time in this particular R2, but, what are the goals? I mean, obviously you've taken overall podiums in a two-wheel drive. I mean, it's a stacked field. I mean, what is your goals? I mean, a two-wheel drive victory?
It is a stacked field. I'd love to win. That'd be awesome. When we did it in 2013, we always had an aim to end up in the top 5 outright. So I'm going to keep that as my aim again. I know there's a lot of great cars out there. This car is a little bit quicker than what we had back then. And there's the Subaru in stacked, and we've got 3 little factory Fords in the crew. So really good. And that's usually Rihanna and Del Camino. So they're also a good team in the SD class, so I think the top 10 is going to be pretty flat out. We can get that top 5, it'd just be awesome. We're just here to display this new car and really do the best aboard.
Yeah. Well, and talking about Rhiannon, obviously for some of the listeners, which is your sister, and kind of you guys got your start in rally together in the same car. When you won your championship, here in the States, she was in the co-driver seat with you. I mean, obviously, you guys kind of went your separate ways, not on purpose. It would just organically kind of happen. Now she's with Nick Roberts. I mean, how has it been with you transitioning to a new co-driver? Somebody different than you've spent a good portion of your career with.
Yeah, it's been different. I did a couple of hours back at home with different codes. Look, it worked fine straight away, but I've always liked hearing the lady's voice as a co-driver because it's about telling a story. Those notes come across in your head, and the lady's voice is a little bit softer and a little bit more pitchy. But now I'm getting used to the man's voice a lot more through Anthony, and I had a different co-driver, Glenn McNeil, sit with me a little bit as well. And they're both top-grade co-drivers, so the level isn't any different. It's just the voice and the control of their voice, which sounds different when you put that helmet on.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you, talking about, differences in Australian and U.S. rally, obviously the cars here, you're going to be driving left-hand drive. The rally cars you're used to in Australia, are they right-hand drive or are they left-hand drive as well?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They're all right-hand drive usually. I'm lucky I've got a left drive back at home, and I actually got that out of the shed last weekend and the drive before I come here, which I grew up on a farm and got a test track there that I do driver training at home with other drivers. So I got that car out and did about 40 miles testing just to get my head back around the left-hand drive. Because I'm even confused driving on the road at the moment. Being on the opposite side of the road, it's quite confusing. So it's good to get out of the airport and be on a freeway because I knew exactly where I could go. But today, sitting in the right-hand seat quite a bit, which feels natural. And then when I was driving, showing him back in the left-hand side, feels fine again. So but it's been a couple of years since I've done it.
You there? It was breaking up a little bit, buddy.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh, no worries. So, give me the lowdown on, the rest of this week. Obviously, Friday, Saturday, we've got New England Forest Rally kicking off. Thursday's going to be Recce Day. I mean, between now and then what's on tap for you, Brendo?
Yeah, so we've got a really busy week, like I said, we're testing this car, and then Thursday, the Recce is the most important day of the rally for me because that's where pace notes are constructed. And I've got 75% of the notes already from 2013. So unless the roads have changed much, I hopefully won't have to make too many changes there. Then the Friday afternoon and Saturday, it's race on. So we've got 3 stages on Friday, starting with Conqueror Pond. And then the Saturday, we've got a lot of stages, more sort of sandy, fast flowing, a little bit of rocky stages. So that's where I hope this new turbo motor will help me out in the options. And also, if there's any hair, that has a lot more in there.
Yeah. Well, and talking about the stages, I know you said you had 75% of the stage notes. To be honest with you, I haven't even looked at the stage layout yet. Is it pretty much the stage is similar to 2013, or have they changed at all, or is it going to be pretty much the same rally?
No, it is a different rally. I was talking to Tim O'Neill last night, and he said they've been out and checked the course, and the roads are very smooth. But say on the Friday, we go in one direction, and we used to come back out exactly the same direction. This year, we turn off and use some different roads altogether. So that's good because as a driver, you need to be working for those making changes, and this rally not being exactly the same. I'm liking that.
Yeah, for sure. So, after New England, I mean, what's on tap for you the rest of 2015? Or is there possibility we may see you in some more Rally America rounds? You have anything brewing down there in Australia? I mean, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'd love to get back to see how this rally goes and what M Sport say and how the customers like the cars as well. I'm brewing up to try and do the Rally Australia round back in Australia. I'm working on maybe doing that one. Just working back in our family business, that keeps me quite busy. We've got an earth-moving business that I work at as well, so I've got a lot going on.
Yeah, you definitely pretty busy. Well, I know, speaking of being busy, you guys, have a stacked day today up there getting ready for the rally, but I guess I'll see you on Wednesday. I'm heading up there, but you can keep me in the loop, man. Send me some text. I want to know how this. I want to know how this car goes when you finally get your chance to wheel it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like I'm just in the car now, and then the R5 will turn up soon. So it's going to be really good to have these world-class cars here in America, and the roads I've just seen out here at Tim O'Neill are fantastic and perfect. They're a bit twistier than what we'll see in the rally. But they're a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great rally, a great group of drivers coming in, some amazing cars, definitely shaping up to be, I would say, one of the biggest rally events in North America in quite some time.
I think so. Like, it's definitely a big entry that we ever had in 2013, having Hemblock, Coast Pastrana, Higgins, Mana, and a car. Like, there's a lot of good drivers that's been cars for a while, and even the Tour driver, Chris Duplessis, who can his name was on. So they're going to have good battles in Tour drive. So I think it'll be really fun for the fans, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I got an email. I guess I think some of the spectator buses are already filling up, and they're adding more buses. So I think between the amount of drivers running, the amount of spectators, it's definitely going to be a can't-miss event.
Yeah, but I'd definitely put it on my calendar. I've always wanted to get back here and to get back to this event. It's so good for me because I can come to this facility, test here, and then straight into the event. It's a bit of an advantage to get there, but you get one, you take it.
Yeah, well, and yeah, you guys are literally where you guys are testing there. It's at O'Neill's. What, hour and a half, 2 hour drive to Sunday River? I know it's really close.
Yeah, it's just over an hour, and we might even go past Mount Washington on our way and do some recce. What do you think?
Oh, Mount Washington. I know that place is tons of fun. It was on the Rally America calendar, I think, last year. So, yeah, that I think you could get into trouble there, right?
I think so.
All right, Brendo. Well, we'll see you later this week, my friend. Have some fun in that R2, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, buddy. All right, that was Brendan Reeves. He is up there at Team O'Neill right now, getting ready for the New England Forest Rally. Those of you remember, Brendo came in to Rally America 2013. Obviously, sister Rhiannon Gelsomino, Alex Gelsomino's wife. Yeah, go figure, right? But no, they came into Rally America 2013, missed the first couple of rounds, jumped in and won the first round. Ended up going, oh man, we won. It was like in a rental R2. So they ran again, ended up winning that. And anyways, after missing a couple of rounds, they ended up literally winning every single round, won a championship, and it was just going to be like a one-off appearance, won a championship in an R2, and the remarkable thing is they're in this, basically a $65,000 at the time. I don't know what an R2 runs now, but they were in, basically just an R2, like anybody that's listening could go and buy from O'Neill's or M Sport. And he goes and took a podium, and we're talking an overall podium. I mean, Block, Higgins, overall podium, not just a two-wheel drive podium. And that's absolutely remarkable for a two-wheel drive car to finish top 3 overall in Rally America. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, on the record, Brendan Reeves, one of the absolute best rally drivers in the world. You can stamp my name on that. This guy can flat wheel a car. You watch at New England, these times are just going to melt away with him behind the wheel of that car. And this car is going to be faster than the one that he ran a few years ago. It's got me excited, man. I think, he's spot on. Take that two-wheel drive, and he's, aimed at a top 5 outright. I think that's spot on, a podium, it's going to be really, really tough at New England. An overall podium, just looking at this entry list, I mean, we can run down it real quick, but obviously Adam Yeoman, he's getting ridiculously fast each and every round. They have definitely stepped up their program. Nick Robertson and Rhiannon in that SP Subaru, he's taken overall podiums. You've got Higgins and Drew. That 2015 Subaru is just on point. Ken Block. And then you mix in, and we're talking kind of open entries. Obviously, you've got Pastrana, you've got Ramana Lagaman, and Chrissy Beavis running the R5. Now, those of you not familiar with an R5, it is they run it in WRC2 a lot. But it's an all-wheel drive car. It's on point. It doesn't quite have the horsepower that Ken's car and Higgins' car has. But this car is it's a world-class rally car. Rahman is such a good driver. I mean, he is absolutely, if he gets enough seat time in this thing and gets dialed in, he's going to compete for an overall win. No doubt about it. with Higgins and Block. I don't know if it's going to happen in NEFR. Obviously, this is going to be the first time he's actually driving the car. But I think you give him a few rounds in a car like this, and Ramana can definitely push for that victory. Two-wheel drive class, I mean, it's just stacked field. Obviously you've got the usual suspects that are killing it this year. Cameron Steele, Troy Miller in two-wheel drive. Steve LaRosa, my off-road buddy there. You got Will Hudson coming back. That's huge. Jeff Seahorn in Super Production, we know he can run top 5 outright. He's teamed up with Karen Jankowski. She's a solid co-driver. Gary Gill, he's had a decent year off and on. I'm just looking at this list going, my goodness. And then you look at B-Spec, and you got a guy like Gustavo Jacquemin, who a lot of you may not know that name, but Gustavo Jacquemin, Google it real quick, and it's going to pull up this guy. He's a professional road racer, World Endurance Challenge. He's run 24 hours at Daytona. I mean, this dude's pedigree, he can flat drive a road racing car. He's coming in running B-Spec of all things. But I guarantee you, Chris Robinson, I guarantee you, James Robinson, he's definitely going to be loving life. He's going to have somebody push him in B-Spec. But Jacquemin, if he can figure out the rally thing, I mean, this guy's on point in a road racing car. And then you mix in, Chris Duplessis in that ridiculously wild gravel machine gun Subaru BRZ nameless performance car. I don't even know it's kind of like the Darth Vader looking of rally cars. I don't know, this thing's just it's nutty. From what I understand, they were going to tune the horsepower back because it was just so wild. Chris was saying at Oregon he'd get on it in the corner, coming out of a corner, and he'd just spin, and he got so used to it, he'd just stay on it and do a complete loop and go. But that car, you literally just break the rear wheels loose looking at the gas pedal. David Sterks, he's back. I mean, David can run. He can put his car on an overall podium easily. He's a great driver, and they've been doing upgrades to that car. I mean, this is literally, I'm telling you, people. One, if you can't make it, Rally America Radio, we're going to have you on point. And Rally America, their website, rally-america.com, their Twitter feed, our friend Olivia over at iRally, we're going to have full coverage this weekend. We will have you handled. If you can make it, I'm telling you, cash in those frequent flyer miles now. Get up to Sunday River. They're running spectator buses. This is going to be one of the best spectating events of all year. And the entry list, I mean, we are at this point 64 entries deep. I don't know if it's been updated yet today. A ton of regional entries. I mean, even Lucy Block, Ken's wife, she's wheeling an R2. It's just a absolute stacked field. I can't hype this event up anymore. Rally America's put out all kinds of press on this thing. If you're a stage rally fan, if you're not a stage rally fan and you think it might be something you're interested in, this is the rally that's going to get you hooked. I'm telling you, it's going to be off the hook. And, those of you who make it out, if you're in the Northeast, just go. Just go. And if you're not in the Northeast, we will definitely have you dialed in online. But this is one you're not going to want to miss. I can't call it at this point in time. There's too many good entries. Two-wheel drive, super production, open class. I don't know. It's up in the air. It's going to be wild. I think David Higgins summed it up perfect when he tweeted me this past weekend, and he tweeted a set of boxing gloves and said, I'm bringing the big ones. So I think we're going to end this on that note. But David Higgins is bringing the boxing gloves. He's coming out swinging, and you can bet your ass Ken Block, Ramana, Pastrana, everybody's bringing their boxing gloves. It's going to be a slugfest. All going down Friday, Saturday, Maine, Sunday River Resort, New England Forest Rally, Rally America. I think enough has been said, but you know where I'm going to be this weekend, and hopefully you guys tune in, rallyamericaradio.com. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, Loren Healy, he's going to be calling in. We're going to talk some Ultra 4, his win at Glen Helen, and maybe even talk about the big KMC Jeep Bash that's coming up this next weekend. So if you can't make it out to New England, definitely want to get dialed in with the KMC Wheels Jeep Bash happening in Long Beach this weekend. This is Jim Beaver, the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. We'll be back after this short break.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris RZR XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Loren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Been a great show so far, but right now it's going to get even better. My next guest hanging out on the line, Loren Healy, coming off a big win at Glen Helen this weekend in Ultra 4. How's everything going, Loren?
Doing really good. Thanks for having us back, Jim.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's been a heck of a couple of years for you. I mean, I guess we can go back to last year before we even talk about Glen Helen, but you had, a banner year, and I guess to cap it all off, DirtSports Driver of the Year. I mean, that had to have been pretty special. I mean, in there against guys like Kyle LeDuc and, desert racers, short course racers, Ultra 4 guys, everybody mixed in to come away with that. I mean, that's huge.
It really was. Never really thought it was something that I could pull off. Like you said, those names are just, idols of mine. So, but, we had an awesome year. I won 3 championships and won almost everything there is to win in Ultra 4 last year. So, couldn't have asked for a better year, and we're starting off right where we did last year. So, going great.
Yeah, well, let's kind of go back to the beginning. There's all these different segments of off-road, obviously, and in the rock industry, it's kind of morphed from where it originally started into kind of Ultra 4 and what we see now. How did you get your start in off-road? Because I kind of like to go back the roots. I mean, I know how I got my start in desert racing and stuff like that, but a guy like you, what drew you to the sport of off-road?
I always had a buggy for rock crawling, but I didn't ever enjoy the slow pace of actual, dodging cones and doing actual rock crawling. So it was just something my friends and I did, on the weekends, and that's what we really like to do, is spend our time out in the desert. And once, Dave Cole came up with Ultra 4 and, mixed in the desert racing part of taking some rock crawling, that's when it really took off for me, and I got excited. We got in at the beginning, in a super grassroots, bare bones budget, $20,000 rig, and just have done well and worked our way through it.
Yeah. Well, and I know, obviously, talk about Dave Cole and Ultra 4, and I guess we can't leave out talking about King of the Hammers. I mean, I think this event is remarkable in that, it's still really in its infancy as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's been around less than 10 years, and it's grown into literally a global phenomenon, and you've been lucky enough to win it twice.
Yeah, it's crazy. 50,000 people go out there. They build a whole city, infrastructure, streets, wireless internet. They broadcast it live on the internet. It really is. It's just crazy what it's turned into from, it was 10 or 20 people out there racing in the beginning for a case of beer, and now it's just grown into what it is.
Yeah. Well, an event like that, this is literally the Indy 500 I would even say off-road. I put it up there with a Mint 400 win or a Crandon win or a Baja 1000 win. It's that prestigious. How do you go into something like, King of the Hammers and approach, how do you approach that?
It is really hard. It is our Daytona 500, and it makes it tough if you don't do well at King of the Hammers to run the rest of the season, because it almost takes you out of the championship running. But you go out there with a mindset that you want to win, but you also need to try to do well. And I made that mistake this year of going out too excited and pushing too hard and trying to get that win too early on in the race, and wrecked the car at about 90 miles an hour. Went front flip and end over end. I think we went over 4 or 5 times. So.
Yeah, that's it's always scary. Let's talk a little bit about going into the start of this season. I know in the past you've always had a 2-seat car. You made the switch, correct, to a single-seat A-arm design car.
I did a single-seat A-arm car with the motor in the front, kind of offset like a Pro 4 is. It's the only Ultra 4 car out there like that right now, and we've won 6 out of 7 races in that car so far.
Yeah, how has that been for you? Spending so much time. I know. Obviously, I raced a single-seat trophy truck, one of the only guys doing that, and it was, it was a little bit different jumping into that from, having a co-driver, with you for such a long time. How has that switch been with you?
A lot of the Ultra 4 season is shorter course stuff, and I've never had a co-driver on that stuff, even if it was a 2-seat car. I just didn't want to hurt anybody in the car with me. So King of the Hammers has been the only time that I've really noticed being, you know, out in the open desert by myself. And I struggled with that a little bit, and I think that partially is why I wrecked at King of the Hammers, because I didn't have a co-driver in there to, you know, check me up a little bit and say, you know, we're driving in the dust at 90 miles an hour. You might want to slow down.
Yeah. Well, an event like that, I mean, in just Ultra 4, I mean, I find the series just pretty amazing. I mean, you go from a place like, you know, King of the Hammers, and we all know just how brutal it is, and obviously mixing in some desert and even a little short course there. But you go to this past weekend at Glen Helen, I mean, that's something totally, completely different. I mean, you know, and I think that's what's cool about not only the series, but the capability of these vehicles. I mean, you know, you can go from, you know, just some of the most brutal terrain on earth to running something, you know, as crazy as, you know, some of the short course at Glen Helen.
Yeah, I love Glen Helen. I've won it 3 times now out of the 5 years that we've raced there, and so it's probably my favorite course. And it's brutal. It's basically a short course race for 2 hours straight, and you know it's definitely an attrition rate. And by the end, there was only 4 people out of 40 on the lead lap by the end of the 2 hours in our main.
Jeez, that's crazy. And I know, obviously, I know you had to battle all weekend. I mean, this one didn't come easy, right?
No, I mean, it definitely didn't. I qualified third and had to work my butt off in the prelims to get the pole in the main. And, you know, Jason Shear, Tom Ways, Waylon Campbell, and Levi Shirley were on my tail for about the first hour of the main. I drove probably as hard as I've ever been in a race car for the first hour, trying to stay out of their path. So got super lucky that they all kind of melted their cars down trying to get me, and got to check up and take it easy for about, I don't know, the last half an hour.
Yeah. Well, you know, looking at the rest of this season, I mean, you know, what are you looking forward to? Obviously, you know, you've taken 7 out of 8 wins in this new vehicle so far. I mean, you're obviously you got to be pretty happy with where you sit. You know, what's you know, kind of what's the forecast for the rest of this year?
You know, I'm super excited that we're going back to the desert. So we haven't had any Ultra 4 specific desert races for a couple of years. We used to race Best in the Desert as 1 or 2 of our series races a year. And, you know, we moved away from that and didn't get to do it for a couple of years, but we're going back to that. We're going up to the Bora race for the 250. That's our next race in August. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, you know, and I got to say, the Ultra 4 cars, I was Vegas to Reno, God, what was it, 2-3 years ago? I was a couple 100 miles in and ended up breaking a spindle on the truck, and I was parked on the side of the course, and I got to see a lot of the vehicles come through and got to see a lot of the Ultra 4 cars come through at Vegas to Reno. It was actually a really rocky section, and I was watching how fast the Ultra 4 cars were going, and I was like, my Lord, our trophy trucks couldn't even touch you guys what you were doing through this rocky section. It was just absolutely remarkable. And I know guys like Shannon, he's taken his and played around in the desert a little bit, and you know, I love seeing those things out desert racing.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm really trying to figure out how to get it in the budget to work my way into a truck. That's kind of my mindset, is I'll stick with Ultra 4 because, you know, that's kind of my roots and my passion, but I really want to branch out into the desert as well. So that's why I'm excited about that. You know, us having a 250-mile desert race for our next race. And if the car's still together, I'm going to try to go run the Blue Water Challenge there quickly after. So.
Oh, nice. That I got to tell you, that race is it's, if you could pick one off-road race tailor-made for an Ultra 4 car, I think it would definitely be that. I mean, it's my hometown, and I know that thing like the back of my hand, and it gets so chewed up and gets so soft and silty. I think, you know, the four-wheel drive, and man, I think your car would be dialed for that.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, Nick Nelson and Shannon have both, you know, ran up front. You hadn't been able to win it, but have ran up front in Class 1 a couple of years in a row. So I think I'd like to go try it as well.
Yeah. Well, I heard, and I don't even know where I read it at this point. This is a while back, but are you possibly building something for desert racing for 2016?
So that was our plan, was we were going to build a four-wheel drive kind of Class 1 car, and then when Score banned a live rear axle, because we still wanted it to be kind of Ultra 4-ish. When Score banned a live rear axle, we kind of put the car on hold. We're trying to make a decision if we just want to build a two-wheel drive trophy truck, or exactly where we want to go. Nick Nelson's building a 4-wheel drive trophy truck right now that he's hoping to debut at Vegas to Reno. That's got some really cool Wiseman parts and stuff like that in it. So he's a good friend of mine, races out of the Jimmy's 4x4 camp as well. And so I kind of want to help him and see how he does and where he goes with it first, and if I want to step in those shoes or just do a 2-wheel drive truck or what. So I just kind of put it on hold until the winter.
Yeah, well, wait and see. But I can tell you already, I've spent some time in rally cars, and I know what kind of terrain we go over, and I think the first guy to really dial in a 4-wheel drive trophy truck is definitely going to run up front. I think it's just figuring out how to make it work, and obviously what you guys have done in Ultra 4, you figured out how to make 4-wheel drive live in the desert. So, I'm just waiting to see the first guy really adapt that to a trophy truck, and I think you guys are definitely, going to bring the A game.
Yeah, and Nick didn't cut any corners on it. I mean, this is a legit truck. So I think you're very right. I think the technology, from the old Herbst truck to what the Ultra 4 guys have brought in, I think the technology has changed a lot, and I think we can run up front with it. So I'm real excited.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing right there is when the Herbsts were trying to do it, everything was one-off and custom. And, at that point in time, I think they were literally probably about 5 to 10 years too soon on the build. I think if they do it now, I think it would be a lot more successful than it was. But tip of the cap to them for trying to make it work when they did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was such an innovative truck, and so cool for us to learn from it as well. So.
Yeah. Well, how's it been with your program? I mean, I know there's a lot of guys running Ultra 4, and but there's been a few that have been really successful in the sponsor hunt, and and with partners. And I know you, obviously talking about Jimmy's. I know partners with Nitto. Both of us share KMC Wheels as a partner. I mean, how has that been for you? I mean, obviously you surrounded yourself with some great companies.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I have some awesome sponsors. You mentioned some great ones, King Shocks and Spider Tracks, Dynamax, and ReadyLift signed on as the title sponsor when Marty Hart decided that he wasn't going to race Lucas this year. ReadyLift came on and picked me up in Ultra 4, so it's been awesome. I'm super grateful that we've got some great companies backing us, and it makes it awesome to go race with some help for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely does. I mean, other than that, I mean, it's been a heck of a whirlwind a couple of years for you, and obviously you got a few more rounds in Ultra 4. What's, so you've got Blue Water Challenge potentially, you've got another Ultra 4 race, and other than that, what do you have left this year?
We've got the national championship, and then I've got a couple different options for doing some partial driving in the 1000. So, nice. Like I was saying, I'm really trying to stick my foot into the desert world and get my way down to Mexico. So I hope to be driving something in the 1000 with somebody. So I've got a couple different options, and I'm planning on making that happen.
Well, I think what's cool about it is a guy like you. I mean, literally 10 years ago, somebody from the rock crawling world wanted to come and run an unlimited car and desert racing, and everybody go, I don't know so much. But, I think with Ultra 4, I mean, you guys proven you guys can drive in the desert. You're fast, and I think, it's opened those doors to a guy like you or even Shannon that's been successful in Ultra 4 to step into the desert side of things and go and do well.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, yeah, nobody would ever let one of the rock crawlers into their trophy truck or Class 1 or even their 4400 car down there. But, yeah, I mean, we definitely get a lot of practice in cars that have less suspension in the desert, and you're always chasing full hydraulic steering in solid axle cars. So we definitely have to learn how to drive.
Yeah. Well, let's go back real quick, and we're kind of midway through the year. I mean, already looking at 2016. I mean, King of the Hammer is such a big event. It's kind of the kickoff to the year. In more ways than one. Not just for Ultra 4, but I think for the entire off-road world. When do you start preparing for King of the Hammers? I mean, it's always got to be in the back of your mind because it's such a big event.
Yeah, and in fact, we're already building a new 2C solid axle car for King of the Hammers, already, and it's still 6 months away, but we've already started building that for next year. And we'll go out for Thanksgiving to Johnson Valley and spend 4 or 5 days out there pre-running and shaking down the new car. So I mean, 3 or 4 months previous, we're already planning it. And, as soon as our season's over in October with the championship in Reno, it's, get through SEMA and then start planning for KOH immediately. We don't get much of a break.
Yeah. Well, in talking about that and talking about pre-running, I mean, I know how desert and stuff can change, and this may be a dumb question, but honestly, I just don't know. Something like King of the Hammers and a lot of the rock sections that you go, I mean, how do those change throughout a race day from lap to lap?
Well, and they change, weekend to weekend, depending on how the weather is and how the water's running down those canyons too. So, you always need to be out there pre-running and checking your lines and seeing how those canyons are changing. But then once you try to pack 100 race cars through those canyons, then it really turns into some problems because, you get some drivers that don't know what they're doing in there and they move the rocks around and cause bottlenecks where you have to try to drive around them or winch around them or something. So, it definitely gets tough for sure.
Yeah, I definitely. Watching the live stream and props for Dave and the team at Ultra 4 for the live streams. I mean, it's even like Glen Helen. I was able to watch you guys race this past weekend. But man, some of those guys. I mean, I know it's become the thing. Everybody wants to race King of the Hammers, but some of those guys, especially not necessarily in the big show, but in some of the build up races to it, man, it's almost funny to watch some of the situations they get into.
Yeah, and this year was probably about the worst bottleneck we've ever seen, or at least has really been put in the public eye. There's been bottlenecks before, but the camera hasn't been able to see it. But this year with 40 racers, sitting still in that one position, that was kind of tough for everybody. Unfortunately, I had already wrecked and was out of the race, or I'd have probably been really frustrated sitting in that line. But it's kind of part of it. If you stay in front of all that and you have a clean day, then you usually don't have problems.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I got to tell you, man, it's been fun. I appreciate you taking the time to call in. I know you just literally getting back into the grind from Glen Helen, getting ready to hop on a plane. And but as always, you're more than welcome to call in anytime. We appreciate it, Loren, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, sounds good, my friend, and good luck.
All right, will do. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Loren. All right, great catching up with Loren Healy, man. Talk about a guy that's just dialed in and had a great couple of years. I mean, I really don't know anybody in off-road, any discipline that's had as good of a run as he has. You know what? I take that back. Kyle LeDuc has definitely had a run, as good as Loren Healy. But that right there should tell you the type of company that Loren Healy's in. When somebody like Kyle LeDuc and him are being compared. But Loren Healy just absolutely an amazing run he's had. DirtSports Driver of the Year, very well deserved. 7 out of 8 victories in this new vehicle. I mean, he shows up. It's kind of like Kyle. It's if he loses, it's like, oh wow, man, Loren didn't win. And it's kind of like Kyle LeDuc's become that in Pro 4. And that should really put it into perspective how dominant Loren's been. And stoked to hear he's going to come out and play in the desert a little bit. But, we quick mention, but KMC Wheels this weekend, they're having first annual KMC Wheels Summer Jeep Bash presented by Jeep. It's going down Saturday, July 18th from 11 to 5 in Long Beach. It's free to get in. They're going to have some of the best and biggest and baddest Jeeps in SoCal. They're going to have prizes and giveaways. You can find out more information on KMC Wheels social media at KMC Wheels. It's going to be at the Aquatic Park, Long Beach, California. You're going to want to park at the aquarium if you go. So everybody in SoCal, definitely make your way out to the KMC Wheels Summer Jeep Bash presented by Jeep. Going down this Saturday. It's going to be good times and man, what more can you ask for? Long Beach, weather's going to be solid. Jeeps, it's a Saturday. Go out, have some fun, check it out. KMCWheels.com at KMC Wheels. They'll have all of the info. And when you upload those pictures, hashtag KMC Wheels, hashtag KMC Jeep Bash. But should be a good time. And I would definitely be out there if I wasn't in Maine at the New England Forest Rally. That is for sure. But quick rundown of your Ultra 4 results from Glen Helen. Obviously, we know Loren Healy, big winner. Jason Blanton taking home second. And John Cagliero Finishing up in third, Paul Horschel in fourth, and Derek West, one of our past guests. He was in fifth. Waylon Campbell sixth. Chris Hoyt, Bailey Campbell, Mark Danzo, and Brian Wood rounding out your top 10 in 4,400. 4,700 spec. Ricky Johnson, RJ taking a win there. Luke Johnson down there in fifth. So it was Ricky Johnson, Bailey Cole, Rowdy Trubenbach, Larry Nickel, and Luke Johnson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4,500 modified. Your winner, Jordan Townsend, Justin Hall, and Mike Bedwell. That is your top three. 4,800 legends, Dave Schneider, Jade Wickham, and Rick Waterbury. That's your 1, 2, 3. 4,600 stock. Your winner was Ben Varoza. UTV winner, John Duckworth, Buzz Bronsema in second, J.P. Gomez in third, and UTV sportsman Brendan Child taking home the win. So those are your results from Ultra 4 Glen Helen this past weekend. Great event there, and you got to love Ultra 4, the way they change it up and mix it up, and you never know quite what what you're gonna see on their schedule, and that's what I love about Ultra 4. These cars, some of the most diverse vehicles in motorsports. Also going down this weekend, we had some TORC happening at the dirt track, and you gotta love the dirt track, man. Plays host to everything from monster trucks to World of Outlaws, sprint cars. Going to be Terracross this year. We've had Red Bull Global Rallycross there. We've had TORC there. Just an amazing facility. And generally, anytime you have anything there, it is a packed house. 2 rounds of racing for TORC there. Doug Mittag taking the win. Luke Johnson, Travis Dinsmore. That was your 1, 2, 3. In Pro Light. Pro 2, it was Doug Mittag taking a win as well there. Keegan Kincaid second, Marty Hart in third. That's your 1, 2, 3. And then Pro 4, CJ Greaves with a big win. Johnny Greaves in second, and Scott Douglas, your 1, 2, 3. Them Greaves boys back on the podium at the top once again. And then we had Doug Mittag, Sean Morris, Luke Johnson, your 1, 2, 3 Pro Light. In the second round there at the dirt track, CJ Greaves, Marty Hart, Brad Lovell, your 1, 2, 3 in Pro 2. And Pro 4, it was Johnny Greaves, CJ Greaves, Mike Jenkins, the 1, 2, 3 in Pro 4. We'll mention CJ Greaves had a hard wreck one point over the weekend. He's all right. Car looked repairable and able to get that thing dialed back in. But, yeah, it was definitely a rough go. But those are your results from the dirt track. And, we're kind of building up to that big event at Crandon over Labor Day. I think next up for TORC is going to be Sturgis on the calendar. Also short course, we got some night racing, Glen Helen, this weekend. Do have to give a shout-out these TORC results. I always go over to my good friend Gwen. She's got a Facebook page called Gorr, Gorrr. Definitely skip over there, give her a follow. She's if you're into off-road short course or motocross, snowcross, Gwen has you dialed. So she's got one of the best pages on Facebook for event results, and longtime listener to Down and Dirty Radio Show. Just figured we'd give her a shout out. Also think she got the award for TORC Fan of the Year last year. So all good stuff. Yeah, that was some of the racing action over the weekend. And then Mint 400, obviously that TV airing as well. And, man, it was a great deal. See Off-Road, Flagship, NBC, Red Bull Signature Series, Sal Masekela hosting. I mean, really, can you get much better? I mean, and then you've got Ricky Johnson, Lee Diffie, dialed in there as well. Kelly Stavist. I mean, just a great group. Did a solid job with the TV, and once again, shout out to Red Bull and the Martelli brothers for making that happen. Man, it was pretty awesome, and yeah, I mean, really treating desert racing the way it should be. We fought for a long time to see off-road in the spotlight, and I think we're finally there. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. They kept talking about the good old days of off-road, in the 80s and the good old days. And I don't agree with you. I think now is the good old days, and I'll stand by that, man. Some of the stuff, some of the sponsors coming into the sport, some of the programs, some of the races, the entries. I mean, really, we're rivaling entries anywhere in off-road's history at this point. And sell out at the at the Mint 400 wait list, some 40, 50 deep. I mean, pretty awesome. So, it definitely all good things for off-road. We're going to take a short break. Kick off hour number 2. Dani Medin, she's going to be calling in with Brad the Bullet Baker. That coming up next on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Loren Healy, who all rely on the XD series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to upgrade the brake system on your race car, pre-runner, or weekend toy? Jmar Performance Brake Systems has you covered. An industry leader in performance braking systems, Jmar can outfit your vehicle with the highest quality American-made calipers, rotors, master cylinders, hubs, turning brakes, and shifters for Volkswagens to trophy trucks and everything in between. For more information and their full product line, visit Jmar on the web at jmarperformance.com or follow them on Instagram and Twitter at Jmar Brakes. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Been a ton of fun so far today, man. Loren Healy on air. We had Brendan Reeves. But right now, my next guest, Dani Medin, she's calling in. We're going to talk some flat track. How's everything going, Dani?
What's up, Jimmy?
Life is
it's going.
Yeah, life is good here. I think you are hanging out in one of my favorite states, Minnesota, right now, aren't you?
I am. I got to run out of the airport for 24 hours, I decided not to take a misconnection, rescheduled flight, blah, blah, blah. So I'm home in the good old Midwest for another day.
Yeah. I got to tell you, it's funny, because I got a lot of family back in Minnesota and stuff like that, with my wife. But I've found Minnesota the past couple of years since doing the show, it's literally, as far as power sports go, it's a hotbed. You would have never thought Minnesota would be a hotbed, but between motocross, snowcross, rally, UTV racing, quad racing, it's crazy. It's like this big hotbed right there in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, and Crandon's not too far from where I'm from. It's a straight east or on Highway A, and we got everything. We have, all the seasons. I love it. I love being home. It's a nice little change from California, but I have to go back.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've always said. People are like, I'm like, yeah, there's, you talk about, like, I was reading some story and like the 4 biggest or 5 biggest states for like watercraft sales, like boats and jet skis are California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, and Minnesota. And everybody's like, anybody that's never been to Minnesota, like, why would Minnesota have that many boats and jet skis? I'm like, have you been to Minnesota in the summertime? Like, literally every car has something behind them.
Right. We hit our seasons hard. We have to. But no, it's really funny. So my mom picked me up from the airport, and I guess we have something to do with the most golfers in the country here too, or something about golf. And we're the number one of. And I wouldn't have thought that, because I'm like, living in Arizona and California, I'm like, yeah, we have a golf course, right up the road from where I'm from, but it's like, I didn't realize that golf was such a big thing here too. I shouldn't be surprised, but we don't have, we lose 6 months a year to crappy weather. It's just funny.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess we should be talking some AMA flat track. I know Indy Mile happening this weekend. We got Brad the Bullet hopefully calling in here in just a few minutes, but give us the lowdown. I know another exciting finish.
Flat track does not disappoint. I have had the greatest couple weekends with this series. I am so impressed at all these riders, now that I'm kind of getting used to the faces, the way of the tracks, and I'm learning so much from Chris Carr and Scotty Dubler. I'm just learning so much, and the past couple weekends have had some crazy photo finishes. They're going 3 wide, 5 wide into these corners. Every track is really different. I'm really having to learn about dirt. I raced motocross, but not, just a handful of times. I mainly rode dirt bikes. I was on sand maybe a couple times, pit bikes.
You there?
Learning a lot. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, it just cut out for a second. We're good.
Okay. I'm sitting in a bedroom at my sister's house, and I had to come see a new baby, so I'm like, I got to escape. Let me know if you lose me again. But, yeah, we've been seeing some crazy photo finishes, and hopefully when Brad calls in, he's been, I said that he's had this target on his back. Brian Smith has been very dominant. Jared Neese is still hungry for his first win. We're kind of getting those handful of riders that you're seeing to be pretty dominant throughout race day. But every race is still anybody's game at this point. The points are still tight. I'm just excited for the next round and the one after that and the one after that.
Yeah. Well, bring me in the loop, because I honestly, I'm still getting up to speed on flat track. And, it kind of seems to me like you've got, Brian, who he had on air a while back. And, and he's kind of like the guy that's, set up for the mile-long tracks. And then you've got Brad Baker, and it seems like Brad's more dialed in on the short tracks. I could totally be wrong, but do you get that feeling too?
Well, I kind of made a mistake, I'll admit. I didn't know that this was Brad's first ever GNC 1 mile win. I know he is dominant or was in the past in the GNC 2 class at the mile track. But this weekend at Indy was his first mile win in the GNC 1 class. So that was pretty cool to see. But he excels at many different tracks, but from what I kind of learned and from what he told me, the shorter tracks are his style, but he's clearly proving that he can dominate on anything. Brian Smith is Mr. Mile. That is what I call him. On a track like Indy and DuQuoin, we were kind of saying the magic is going to happen, in that last lap, that last final corner, because drafting is so important in this type of racing. It's so cool. We don't draft in snowmobile racing.
Yeah, right.
I wish I kind of knew that feeling. I don't know that feeling, so I can't describe it. But in flat track, it seems to come down to, that last corner, anything can happen. We've seen Brad Baker really dominate. People are kind of pulling away, but then right at those last couple seconds, magic happens. 3 wide finishes, photo finishes. I think he won by .002 this weekend, or it's some crazy close finish again. Yeah. I mean, these mile tracks are so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think like the top 3, I read something like half a second, I think, separated the top 3. And geez, I mean, a week before when it was at 3 wide, I mean, that was just, what do they say, like the smallest margin, I think, in flat track history or something. It's just crazy how, how they can all be almost, single file or kind of in a bunch. But then, coming out of that last corner, it's like every man for themselves, and it gets wild.
It's a nail biter. It's for sure. I had my little sister. She came to her first flat track, and she just was like, "Oh my God!" She's like, the air fences and the crashes. I mean, it's intense, and everybody walked away safely. But we saw a pretty gnarly wreck that one of the bikes came into pieces and hit a couple of the riders, like Henry Wiles. I think he said in an interview that he got hit in the face by some part of one of the bikes. But everybody left safe last weekend, from what I heard. But, this provisional start card thing is pretty interesting. Jared Meese has already used his this season. He still is in the points lead. He still hasn't had his win yet, but he's been Mr. Consistent. Kenny Coolbet Jr. had a rough day on Saturday. He already used his provisional start card. So right now, I mean, it's going to come down to you got to keep it together as you're almost at that halfway point in the season. And there's a couple of those riders that are right where they need to be to win the points and take home a championship.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously Brian Smith having a great year. I think Brad, he's within striking distance as well. He's come on, he's won 2 of the last 3, so he's coming on pretty strong.
And he's won the Dash for Cash races, that's another really exciting part of flat track that, 5 guys get a chance to take home $1,000 plus a bonus point. So that's going to play a big factor, I think, in the points, because Brad has taken home, 2 bonus points. He's moved up into point standings. And right now, it's not locked in that Jared's going to take the championship. Brian's made some moves. Brad is making some moves. Sammy Halbert has had some, a great couple rounds. It's going to be really exciting to see how this really does shape out.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think is the coolest thing about flat track, and this is just me because I'm kind of a gearhead, but it's seeing the different mix of bikes. I mean, you guys have everything from Harleys, Ducatis, Kawasaki's. I mean, it's crazy. It's just a smorgasbord of bikes, and there's so many different ones that actually do well.
Well, there's a lot of changes, and I'm learning so much about these bikes. I briefly worked on my motocross bike, my dirt bike. My dad really wasn't a big fan of that. I broke so many bones in snowcross. He said, if you're going to race motocross, it's all you. He obviously taught me to ride a street bike. We didn't really work on our bikes a lot, so I don't know a lot, but because of flat track, I'm learning a lot. The chassis that Brian is riding is one of a kind. Jared Meese has 2 bikes that he's running with that reversed cylinder or whatever on his bike. I'm learning so much on the technical side. Dunlop is doing great with the tires that they run, a spec tire, but they do have a couple different tires that they run. So it's been interesting to watch, how the tires shape up throughout these races. Just like NASCAR, fuel economy is an issue. There's been a lot of kind of issues with the whole 2-minute thing on the start because the bikes are overheating. They're running out of gas. It's been really intense. It's been very, very intense, and it's been super cool to learn the technical side of this sport.
Yeah, and that's funny because watching some of the behind the scenes videos and stuff that AMA posts. I was kind of going over them this weekend, and some of the stuff back in the shops and things like that. I mean, there's so much that goes into being a successful program, and I think it's that way with any motorsport. But I mean, it's such small, minute changes that make such a big difference in flat track, and I think that's what's crazy. You have something like motocross where I can hit that jump a little bit faster and it'll throw me a little bit farther, and you might get an edge that way. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of dialing in with the bikes, but flat track, I mean, it's so, just small changes can make such a big difference.
Well, and the surface is what is so important, is what I'm learning from Chris Carr, because that really depends on your bike setup. they talk about these cushion tracks, and then we came from Lima, which was that pea gravel, that was a very cool race to go to. I highly recommend if there's some, flat track motorcycle fans out there, write that one down on your list and get out there next season. But I'm really looking forward to Peoria. That is a TT track, which has that jump. I'm not sure what to expect. It's going to be interesting coming up, as a hill cross racer, what's in front of me right off the starting line, a jump. Unlike snowcross, where usually, you have a corner to get around, or you have somewhat of a little bit of a straight, but hill cross and these TT tracks, it's going to be interesting to see bike setup for that. They don't obviously run the twins at those tracks because it's way too dangerous. You don't want to be jumping a Harley 750 out there.
Yeah.
Even though that would make it pretty interesting, but obviously it would not be safe. So it's going to be interesting to see, who dominates at those tracks, how different that track is than the tracks I've been to. Vegas, we're having our finals there. If you guys followed and heard the announcement, they're going to be doing some type of a super prestigio in November for our AMA Pro Flat Track finals, which I'm so stoked for that. It's going to be awesome. And then we have a couple half-mile tracks coming up. Sturgis is coming up. I'm so excited. Every race is a whole new situation, whole new place to learn new things.
Yeah. Well, shoot, you're going to be pretty busy at Sturgis too, right? You're wearing a few different hats there.
Yes, of course. The AMSOIL girls are going to be out there for the first time, so I hope people will there's 2 locations that AMSOIL is going to have out there. We're also going to be at the TORC off-road races. I'll have Dakota and one of my other girls out there as the podium chicks, so we're super excited. I'll be hanging out with the AMSOIL girls outside of the 2 days that I'll be at Flat Track.
Yeah.
But the Flat Track races are on Tuesday, Black Hill Speedway. So if you're coming up to Sturgis, please come out and visit us. And if you're not coming to Sturgis, our live stream is awesome. They have done such an awesome job with all the feature videos, and those videos also get loaded to our social media Facebook page. So I encourage people to go watch those. There's some cool videos out there with a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and you really get to know the riders.
Yeah, definitely. I big props to AMA Flat Track because they do. I was watching, and they have like pre-shows, and and then they have all the main events. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and the stuff and the behind-the-scenes. I mean, they do it right for sure.
Yeah, when we kick off the broadcast, for the live stream, I've been able to work with one of our videographers and stuff and do some voiceover in the recaps and then, do the intro video, which is pretty cool. So, and all those videos are loaded onto Facebook and then, people can watch those there. So I'm just so blessed to be a part of this series. It's a great crew, extremely hardworking. There's so much that goes into this, with the air fence having to be put up, those technical factors that I'm learning, for safety and everything. This is nuts. I mean, these bikes are going 130 miles an hour, three wide, 5 wide in the corners. These guys are running so close together. But I'm super pumped because Chris Carr does some riding schools, and I should be able to attend one of them soon. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to throw my leg over if I can get a lesson from Chris Carr so I can understand the sport even more.
Wow, that'll be that's about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That'll be cool if you get to do that.
Well, yeah, I won't be passing that up.
Right. You're going to have a lot of people jealous of you for that.
Well, let's hope. It's hard because I don't have a chance to ride much anymore. Living in California, I don't have a street bike. I'm not in Minnesota. I don't have snowmobiles anymore, so I'm craving that need for speed all the time. So if I get a chance to ride at any point, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you before we let you go, though. I mean, obviously, AMA Pro Flat Track, it's been around for a long, long time. I mean, there's some absolute legends of the sport. But it seems like, it's a lot like off-road. I mean, it's kind of in the back of people's minds. They know it's there, but maybe people weren't always tuned into it. Do you feel like X Games has kind of re-energized? I mean, how have the crowds been? I mean, do you feel like it's kind of re-energized the sport and brought some new eyeballs to it?
Oh, for sure. I've been told that our stats, of our unique viewers and visitors to all of our live stream, and the fact that thank God for Flat Track, for X Games and having Flat Track there, it really put us on the map again. I'll be honest, I didn't follow this sport prior to having this job. I knew what it was, but I wasn't a diehard fan. But now I am. Whether I continue to work for the series years to come or not, I'm going to be a fan of this. It is so awesome, and the fact that when these guys take off their helmets, you would never guess by looking at half of them that this is what they do. I mean, these guys really risk their lives every lap on that track, and they don't get enough credit.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree. I mean, seeing just some of the crashes and that, it's pretty amazing. The cool thing, I think, though, is it looks like there's a handful of riders now. I mean, I can draw a lot of comparisons between this sport and off-road, and a lot of guys were, they may be at the top level, but they were still privateers. But I see an influx of sponsors. I mean, obviously Harley's involved, Kawasaki, but, seeing Monster Energy on, on a couple of the guys' helmets and things like that. I mean, that's what's really cool for the sport, I think, is seeing an influx of cash and sponsorship dollars coming in and helping these guys out.
Well, they deserve it. These riders need, this should be, it's growing to that NASCAR level. Thank God for these sponsors coming on to support these riders and give, because of social media. Thank goodness for Monster with, the Kenny Coolbeth and Jared, I do believe. I think it's sponsored by Monster. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But, with the help of these sponsors, these riders are getting more popular. We're getting more fans, and that's what the sport needs. And it's growing. It keeps growing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to slow down.
No.
We're going too fast to slow down.
Yeah. Well, I think people are hooked on it now. And, and I think, especially, years to come, especially, going into 2016 and things like that, I've just been watching Flat Track's social media and the growth there. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. But these guys like Brad and and Brian Smith, who we had on, and just the personalities. It's I think people are going to get attached to these guys, and once people get attached and becomes fans, how things go.
Exactly, and that's what I love about the videos that we do with the AMA Pro Flat Track Series, is that they really get under that helmet. And that's what I love. I mean, yeah, we all love racing. We all love being there. But when you get to know these people, they have the fan walk and the open paddock at the track where you can get right up and, meet and greet these riders and see the bikes in person and see how it all goes down. And that's kind of one of the coolest things about the series. So you have to get out to a race. I can't push it enough. It's so awesome.
Yeah. For sure. So what's up next for you, Dani? I know you guys have been in a bender of a ton of flat track events right in a row. What's on tap for you?
Yeah, we just finished a 4 in a row stint, so to speak. We're all kind of ready for a weekend off. I need to get my bikini on. I need to go lay on the beach and have a drink. I need some sun. I need to work on my tan. And then Sturgis, I'll be leaving for Sturgis August 1st through the 9th. That will be a fun week. I love going to Sturgis. It'll be, I think, my 5th time or 6th. So I usually try to go demo ride a bike out there since, like I said, I don't own a motorcycle anymore. That's my chance to ride. So yeah. I hope to get out there, and I'm kind of shopping for a bike again. I got that, I miss riding, so I'm hoping that I can get on a Harley soon. Yeah. But otherwise, Sturgis, and then the rest of Flat Track, staying busy. So
are we going to see you with the Race One online crew at TORC at Sturgis as well, or are you just going to be doing the Amsoil Girl things?
I'm going to be pretty busy. It's going to be tough. I'm going to try to meet up with the Race One online crew. Every single flat track overlaps with the TORC series, so it's, I can't be in 2 places at once. I usually go to the flat track one day prior to kind of see the track, shoot my videos and kind of, do all that fun stuff. So I'm going to try to get out to TORC though. Awesome. I'm going to try to sneak out there on Monday. So, but otherwise, yeah, I'll be with the Amsoil Girls and flat track.
Awesome. Well, as always, great talking with you, Dani, and keep us in the loop, and we'll definitely catch up with you after Sturgis.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you guys in Sturgis.
All right. Thanks. All right, that was Dani Medin. She's AMA Pro Flat Track reporter, and Bullet Brad Baker. We were expecting him, but I know there was a chance that he may have got hung up and not be able to call in, and we were aware of that, and looks like that was the case. But Dani Medin talking a little AMA Pro Flat Track, and tweet me at JimBeaver15. Let me know what you guys think of flat track and these finishes. I got to tell you, photo finishes the past 2 rounds. I got to tell you, I'm getting pretty excited over this sport. It's I'm guilty. I'm one of those. I've known about flat track my entire life. Used to have a very good family friend that used to race professionally back in the 70s, and but he but I kind of out of sight, out of mind, and X Games kind of re-energized it for me, and put it on the forefront. I've been lucky enough. Dani Medin, a good friend of mine, she got picked up by AMA Pro Flat Track to do some reporting for them, and so here we are. And tweet me though, let me know what you guys think. AMA Pro Flat Track at JimBeaver15, and as always, you can shoot me those questions for just about anything on Twitter or at Ami Houde 71, my sidekick, who'll be calling in here in just a few minutes. You can hit her up as well, or use our website, downanddirtyshow.com, and shoot me those questions there. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, direct message me, whatever. Just get them to me. We'd love to hear what you think and some of those questions as well. But man, it's been a ton of fun so far, and it's even going to get better. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, Ami Houde, she's going to be on the line. We're going to be talking about Ryan Villopoto, this big retirement, and probably all things two wheels. So that to come still here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Loren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the two-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Banging show so far. Brendan Reeves, he's calling in from up there at the New England Forest Rally, getting ready to kick off later this week. He's doing some testing in an M Sport car. We've had Loren Healy, your Ultra 4 winner from Glen Helen, also your DirtSports Driver of the Year. He called in. We've had Dani Medin talking a little flat track. We've talked some TORC. We've talked some KMC Wheels Jeep Bash, Nitro Circus. Man, we've talked a little bit of everything, and right now we are going to be talking a little two wheels with Miss Ami Houde, who's calling in here in just a second. Also want to mention, heard that Dirtfish spot, great partners of mine. I am going to be up there at Dirtfish Rally School August 3rd for a 3-day, doing a little training in small wheel drive rally cars, getting on point for Vegas to Reno, and it's going to be fun, man. We're going to have a live Monday show from Dirtfish Rally School. I have a certain 7-time X Games gold medalist who is going to be going to Dirtfish with me, so we'll have him on air. We'll also have some of the local rally talent on air, and it's going to be a good time. And then spending 3 days. 3 days slaying some tires on some all-wheel drive Subarus is definitely a ton of fun. So definitely looking forward to that. Those of you, class is sold out now. I put it out there. Wanting to get some of you to sign up. I haven't heard who is signed up or not, but seven of you decided you wanted to sign up, go rally driving with me. So should be a lot of fun. But right now, Ami Houde is calling in. We got to hit her intro music, though. I always love this part.
Where the hood at? You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood at?
All right, how's everything going, Ami?
What's up? How's it going?
Oh, it's been a fun show so far. We debuted our new intro this week, the one I sent over to you. So that's
I love it.
I know that's always fun, changing it up a bit. We like to have fun on this show, so I wanted an intro that kind of reflected the fun we have, and definitely, I got to give you a little crap though. I think we, you and I have been friends for a while now, and on-air hosts together, and we finally had a breakthrough yesterday. I know. Yeah, the radio show. Those of you that don't know, it's almost comedy because it's like clockwork. Every Monday morning I get a text as I'm on air from Ami. What's the call-in number again? What's the call-in number? And I don't know, we looked up. You've called in like over 30 times at this point. So yesterday, just to let the listeners know, Ami finally put the call-in number to the radio show in her contact list. So thumbs up to you, Ami Houde.
I am the ultimate procrastinator. So I'm one of those people who has to sift through my text messages because I never save anybody's number. So it's like a game. I'm literally going through numbers, being like, okay, who is this? And reading the conversations to try to piece together who is who. I don't know why I do it. It's honestly worse on me because it's extra time and it's an extra hassle and headache, and I don't know what. I've always been that way. I've always procrastinated everything, and I just do things the hard way. It's super dumb. I don't know why. It's just, I go a million miles an hour, so I don't do those little steps that would probably save me time in the long run because I just forget about it and just don't do it.
Well,
so it's terrible.
In your defense, you're not the only one. So I don't know. I've got about 3 or 4 people I probably text with the most on a weekly basis, and you are now officially one of them. So last week you finally made the favorite list on my iPhone. So now you're really right there at the push of a button. So you're officially one of my favorites, Ami Houde.
Yeah. Well, I'm currently texting someone right now who knows who I am. Apparently, I'm having a conversation, and I
can't really figure out who it is because, again, I haven't saved the number. But, like, I feel bad because we've been talking for quite a while already to be like, by the way, who is this? So, yeah, and people are just going to get on me really bad if they're listening, but I always pull the, hey, sorry, I just got a new phone. Who is this? I'm terrible for it, but I've had the same phone forever. I've just don't save your number. I'm sorry, but you know what? Actually, I can pull that now because last week on Monday, I got my phone stolen right out of my truck, right in front of a store. Someone walked in, grabbed my phone.
She grabbed her phone, and she must have been texting and hit the off button. Oh, my goodness. Ami Houde just dropped her call. She was she Oh, can things get any more exciting here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show? Yeah, my co-host's phone, as she's telling us she's texting somebody, drops. Yeah, talk about oh, man. Yeah, we got to give her even more crap. So, as you're telling me your phone, you're texting somebody, you dropped the call.
It says that you dropped my call. I have like 3 bars. Come on, that's pretty good for me. But anyways, yeah, I got my phone stolen last week. It sucked, so I had to go buy a new one. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't really have luck with stuff. But anyways, end of that. Let's talk dirt bikes or anything motorsports related. I hate talking about my bad luck because it makes me frustrated.
Well, I want to talk about you and your weekend because you did some awesome stuff on a vintage bike. Before we get to that, number one, the biggest, even bigger than quadruple backflips that Nitro Circus did, even bigger than the Mint 400 on TV, bigger than anything, Ryan Villopoto announcing his retirement. I mean, talk about a huge blockbuster.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised. In a way, I was like 50% surprised. Surprised because the guy's only 27 years old, and, he's pretty young, and he hasn't really accomplished all that I thought he was set out to do. I really thought he was going to claim a GP title or, keep going until he did, because I know he's been struggling a little bit over there. I didn't think he was going to give up till that happened, but at the same time, I'm not surprised because I know he's been having a little bit of bad luck, suffering some injuries over there. And, I don't know him personally, obviously, but just knowing a little bit about him and, through some of the interviews and what I see online, like, this racing is the guy's job. I don't know how much fun he has doing it because he takes it extremely seriously, and that's his job. He, invests 24 hours a day training, 7 days a week. And I just think that, when he knew that he was going to get out, he was going to be out. And I don't think that he's going to be the type of guy like Ricky Carmichael or Kevin Windham or any of those other guys who kind of stay involved a little bit after they retire. I think now that he's out, and we're not going to hear from him anymore. So
yeah,
it's too bad because, the guy is amazing and such a legend on a bike, and I was really hoping to see him, pick it up over in Europe and stuff, and I was really hoping that he was going to win a championship, but, it is what it is. C'est la vie.
Yeah. I know, I don't know. He's going to go down, to me, you can count him on one hand. The greatest supercross riders ever. Ricky Johnson, McGrath, Carmichael, Villopoto is going to be on that list, hands down. There's a few others, but I just feel like, I know he accomplished pretty much anything you could ever want to in the States. I honestly, I thought we'd see him. I didn't expect him to win the GP title in his first year. I figured he's never ridden these tracks before. These guys are on point. People in the U.S. don't recognize the talent over there because we're in our box and we don't. We just, we're the U.S. I'll own up to it.
And they don't go over there. They have no idea what it's like. Yeah. Like, it's freaking night and day difference.
Yeah.
Sure.
You've been over there and competed. You know. But it's I thought we'd see him at least another year or two in GP. I know the injury was pretty bad he had, but I don't know. Do you think we're going to see him in anything else? You got a guy like McGrath. He's gone to off-road trucks and done that with a roll cage now and doing really good. Do you think Ryan Villopoto is just done, or do you think we'll see him in something else?
You know what? I don't even know. But from what I know, from like, again, how I've, kind of seen him interact and, his involvement in the sport, he is there to do a job, okay? He ain't got no friends. He doesn't socialize and do the kind of groupie things that you see Ken Roxon and, Will Hahn and everybody. Some of those other riders do. They're very much involved. Ryan would go to the track to do a job, and that was to go to win. Racing, and he even said it one day that, it's not fun for him right now. He, he's there to win a championship, and it's all, he throws everything on the line, where, people who go to do that, as soon as you take a break, like, you want to take a big break, and you want to walk away and say, okay, I want to live life a little bit now, and, kick back, have a beer, and just enjoy life for a little bit. So, and I've never really seen him kind of dabble in anything four wheels, or, a lot of people pick up, they want to try NASCAR or off-road trucks or any of that stuff. I've never really seen him, into any of those things. So I think now he's maybe going to focus on having a family, maybe just do the family thing for a little bit. But I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that you see hanging out at Supercross on the mic anytime soon. I think he's just going to take a step back for sure.
Yeah,
it's too bad. I mean, he's a really talented guy, but he's a different personality. He's a little bit more quiet and reserved, and he's different, that's for sure.
Yeah,
more serious.
And I could totally be wrong, but I just don't see him as the TV type, jumping on the mic and
No.
just nothing against Ryan. I just don't see him as that type.
No.
He doesn't have that
Yeah,
big.
there's two people.
Yeah, he doesn't have the larger than life.
There's two types of people in the world.
Yeah, so somebody like Dungey that's all smiles and stuff like that, I could totally see him, doing some color, and he's always laughing, smile on his face. Everybody loves him type of thing. And Villopoto, I mean, he's that guy was he's an animal, but he was dedicated to the cause, and don't bother me, I got to go and win races.
Exactly. Yeah, he was very serious about it, but that's also why he was one of the greatest of all times. Is he took it so seriously. He was there to do a job, and he had one purpose, and he was just an animal. So, no distractions for him. But now, he's married, he has a wife. It'd be cool to see him have a couple of Villopotos and see how successful they would be. But, it'd be nice to keep tabs on him and see what else he gets up to.
Yeah. Well, and
people like that, those great athletes never disappear. They always end up doing something because they have that need for speed, and often they need to compete. And hopefully he'll take something else up, and we'll be able to see him do something cool.
Yeah. I think I think he's one of those. I think he's going to disappear for a year or two. He'll be off the grid. Nobody will hear anything about him. You'll see a few social media posts here and there that probably will be nothing motocross related. But I could see him 2 or 3 years. He'll pop back up, and he'll do something, and it'll be a big deal. Almost like what Ashley Fialik did on the women's side. I mean, there was 2 years where she was non-existent. Nobody heard, saw nothing from her. And then she turns up on a Husqvarna in Southern California testing a bike, and everybody's like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Well, actually, she disappeared to be a part of Marvel on Universal. She did a lot of the stunt shows and, like, the traveling kind of Disney stuff. It was actually pretty cool. There was a big group of girls who used to race the WMX. The thing is, Ashley Fialik left on a pretty bitter note. Like, I knew it wasn't, smooth sailing when she left because, I mean, obviously she was upset with the lack of support for the pro women's series, and I completely understand. But, she went off to do something pretty cool, and I always wish that I could do something like that, being a part of the stunts and the shows and everything. So they got a pretty cool gig with Marvel. A couple of girls there. I know the Marcotti twins and her, and I know Sarah Whitmore also was involved a little bit with that. But yeah, that's a pretty cool gig. I can't. You shouldn't be complaining about that. But
yeah, those bikes were pretty sick. They rode too. They were like all electric dirt bikes, so they didn't make any noise because they didn't want to disrupt the show.
Really?
So they were all electric. But I saw something behind the scenes on those bikes, and they were pretty trick rides that they got to wheel.
That's awesome. Well, I know there was one time I got contacted to be a part of a similar type of show. It was like a water and fire thing. I don't even know. It was actually out of Japan, but through my racing experience and my swimming background, like I was lifeguard and was into actual kind of amateur diving and everything. But they invited me to come out and, over to Japan and do this really cool stunt show where you'd actually be, like, jumping bikes off, like, ramps and into the water and doing cool things on jet skis. But it was a full-time commitment. Like, I would be moving to Japan, and the limited time, I think, was 3 to 6 months. And, like, you couldn't go home. It was a full investment. But I was, I tiptoed and teeter-tottered on that deal for so long. I really wanted to do it, but I just didn't know anybody going over there, so I didn't really want to take my chances. But it was a really cool opportunity, and the shows looked really awesome. But Japan's a completely different side of the world. So you got to be 110% committed because there wasn't really any turning back. Yeah.
Well, in this total side note, I shared something on my social media over the weekend. I don't even know where it came from. Don't know who it was. There's a video of a guy last week in the last week or two. So he built this ramp, and the thing had to have been like 30, 40 feet tall, and it was like on the edge of a lake. And that thing was a ridiculously tall ramp. And he was on a dirt bike, and he hit the ramp going probably it had to have been well over 100 miles an hour. And this guy hits this ramp, and he literally goes up in the air. And the thing was like almost like a vert ramp where it throws you straight up in the air. He hits this ramp, and he gets probably 200-300 foot over this lake, drops the motorcycle, and then pulls a parachute and parachutes into the lake.
Nice.
It was so. I'll text you the video afterwards, but it was absolutely insane, and I mean, it was so cool. I mean, it looked like something Pastrana would do, to be honest with you.
The stuff people do nowadays, I mean, like, people have no fear or no brain, one of the two. I mean, I don't know if people think of the consequences before they go and launch themselves off stuff, but it's crazy. I mean, in how the internet's become, where we can just share everything with the push of a button and the access to media and stuff. Like, I can sit on Instagram for hours on, like, Crushed MX and MX fails, just, like, watching funny things on motorsports. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's Well, I think the biggest response...
People have no brain.
Yeah, well, the biggest response was in the comments, as everybody's like, this is cool, but he just threw away a 10,000 dirt bike.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was probably getting them for free anyways, right?
More probably like a beater. It was like, it's all
exactly.
blown out and stuff.
Yeah, well, anyways, not talking about beaters, but talking about old bikes. I know you were killing it this weekend, vintage bikes. I gotta say, like, you're awesome on a new bike, but the jumps you were pulling on that vintage bike, I gotta say, respect for you, Amy.
Well, I have to say that bike did have some factory kind of suspension on it, but yeah, I raced an 81 YZ 465. My dad just picked it up last week. So a little bit of background about me and my dad's vintage kind of experience is that we buy and sell vintage bikes like it's going out of style. Like, every week I'll go in the garage and my dad will have something new, and he'll, like, trade it in for whatever he had last week. Sometimes it pisses me off because he'll have a bike that I really like, and I'll be like, I want to go ride this. And I go in the garage and it's gone, and there's something new. So we actually had a bunch of old CVs, and we sold them to Ryan Villopoto's grandpa. He apparently collects them, so we had like 3 of them, mint condition, and we sold them all to him last year. But that was actually my vintage bike, was a CV, so I was pretty bummed. But we have a couple Husqvarnas, and we had a KX 500. I don't even know what year that thing was, but yeah, he just picked up this 81 465, and it is mint. Like, the thing hauls, and it has really awesome suspension on it. So you can launch that thing like crazy, and I mean, it's almost smoother than my bike. But I won the first moto and ladies class on it. Me and Ashley were like battling. I was like, hey, wait for me, because the thing's kind of a dog off the start, and it takes about a lap to kind of get comfortable on it. Because I mean, you're going from a regular bike to an old bike. You gotta kind of test the waters with it, like how far you can jump it, and like how it handles in the conditions. Because it was the first time I even rode it. Was my first race. So, but then I got in front of Ashley, and the girls could not pass me. I was launching the finish line and doing the doubles. And, oh my god, it was so fun. But in the second moto, I blew a gasket and had an air leak, and I was so bummed. And I pulled off the track, and it like stuck wide open, and it was just screaming, and I thought I was gonna blow the thing up. It was freaked me out, but we're going to fix it, and I'm actually looking online to find, like, a vintage national where there's, like, a women's class or, you know, something where there's a lot of classes, because I want to go and race that thing, because I felt really comfortable on it, and I feel like I could haul and beat some old men. So I'm really looking for a vintage national. If anybody knows something that's, you know, not in, like, SoCal, but somewhere kind of in the central area, like, let me know. I want to go. I'm going to show up. I'm going to clean up. But, yeah, it's awesome. And actually, my dad, he won, like, the crazy. I mean, the guy's 58 years old, won 450A on his regular bike, but then won in the Vintage Open, like the pro vintage class, on regular bikes. He beat everybody on that vintage bike, so nice. It was gnarly. But it was awesome. It was a good weekend. I had a lot of bike problems, but I blew the one bike up, and then I just tipped over in a corner. The track was like concrete in the 250D class, and I drove my clutch lever right off. So here I am, like, lying on the ground. I'm like, okay, I really want to finish. So I started the bike up. I'm like, okay, how do I get it started? So I just started pushing it and, like, running beside it, clicked it into gear, and, like, hopped on, and then finished my race with no clutch. So it was super funny. Good weekend overall. I think I got third the first moto 250D and, like, dead last because I fell over. But, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a blast. Well, I'm telling you, your dad goes through all these vintage bikes. Find me a Honda Fat Cat. I want one from the 80s. They only made them for like a year or two. Everything I found online here, I don't know why I want one so bad. I just remember riding one when I was a kid, and they were so much hella fun. But they want like $3,000. I'm not going to pay $3,000 for a Honda Fat Cat.
No, my dad can find one. He's like, literally the guy that spends all evening on the internet, like, Kijiji and eBay, like, looking for vintage bikes, and he always looks for deals. And yeah, he can find like a diamond in the gold mine. So yeah, it's funny.
One guy had one he wanted like $1,000 for, and I'm like, all right. Started looking at it. It was completely rusted out, and just, I mean, it was bad news. It would have been like a frame off restoration, and I'm like, I don't want that much work either. So yeah, so here we go. I'm telling you, tell your dad I want a Fat Cat. I'll pay him well for it. Cat. Yeah. They're just fun to ride.
We will find one.
All right.
I'm writing this down right now. Fat Cat Honda.
Yeah, they are so much fun. Anyways, I don't know what else is happening. I know you've got all kinds of stuff working. I've got all kinds of stuff working. I don't know. If people saw our text conversations, they really think, I don't know what they think, to be honest with you.
Well, this weekend it sucks because every year since I've been on 50s, I've gone to Millville, like Spring Creek AMA National. It's only about 10 hours from my house, and I've gone every single year. But the last couple of years, I've been in Europe, and things have come up and haven't been able to make it. And now this year, I wasn't able to get the time off work to go to race. So me and the girls decided, okay, Friday I'm going to start work at like 3 a.m. so I can be off around 10 or 11, and the girls are going to get the day off, pack everything up, and then I'm going to pin it home when I'm done work, and we're going to drive down. So we're just going to go to watch the Pro National for Saturday, and we're going to come back home. So it's going to literally be like the road trip of a lifetime. We've got to get there before like 10 o'clock before the gates close. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty funny, but it should be good. I haven't seen an outdoor national yet this year, so I'm just, like, dying to go see some stuff live. Like, it just sucks watching it on TV compared to seeing it live. And, Millville's such a great facility and such a sweet track, so I'm just debating whether I'm going to load up my bike or not. I don't know if I would have time to race, but you can't go to a national and not bring your bike. Like, it just doesn't go. I just can't show up to the track without my bike.
You're going to be pissed at yourself. You are going to be pissed at yourself. Yeah. You're going to get there and be like, oh, what was I thinking?
And there's a really sick practice track down the road, Meadow Valley, and you can go anytime and ride there. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to wake up Sunday and want to ride. That's going to be how it is. So I got to bring the bike. I think I got to do it. I think I just convinced myself to bring it. So.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way to bring it.
Well, we're trying to debate because we don't even have a place to stay. We're literally going to roll into the track, find a friend, and crash with them. But I think we're going to take my dad's van so we can all sleep in the van.
Yeah, you need a legit moto van is what you need. You need a legit moto van. I love
my truck, though. It's so cute, and it's so good on gas.
I want I'm going to make
I got like the best of both worlds. I have like a truck and a car because it's a Ranger, so it's just the size of a car, so I can always find good parking, but then it's a truck, so I can put stuff in the back.
Yeah. You need like a beater moto van. Like seriously, I've seen them on down here in the Southwest for like $3 or $4 grand. They've got like 200,000 miles on them, but who cares? You know what I mean? But
you need something that's good on gas, because if you have a moto van, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be driving, and some of them, if you're not careful, like they're a gas guzzling monstrosity, and you don't want one of those. So yeah, I'm trying to find something, but I think I really want to get a little camper, a little. I don't know. I'm in the works of trying to find something to take with the track. Either I'm going to get a little trailer, but I mean, my truck doesn't pull much either. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I've got this idea in the back of my head because I want to top Ronnie Renner's ambulance. I want to get – Ford has these new transit vans that have these really tall roofs, and they're super long stretched. Yeah. And I want to have the first ever UTV van. I want to have a van that's so big that I can pull my UTV in the back of it and my Razor in the back, pull it out, and then have beds that fold down from the sides. So that's in my brain right now. I'm just trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to pay for it, because these vans you can't pick up used because they're only like a year old, and I don't have like $40 grand to drop on a van. So it's either convincing Ford to give me one or taking out a freaking another mortgage on the house or something.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'd either have to I'm from the Poor Girl Club, so I ain't got no money tree in my backyard. Or it died. But, yeah, I don't want to trade in my truck anytime soon. It died.
Thing wilted over.
I tried watering it, but the thing just won't come to life.
You needed, what do they call that stuff? I can't even think of it, that plant food that you can buy, right?
Miracle Grow?
Yeah, Miracle Grow. You need a lot of Miracle Grow. Maybe some Red Bull on the Miracle Grow.
I know, no doubt. Yeah, but I need something, because literally it's tri-fittings. Now my wolf pack used to be 3. It was Ashley and Taylor, so now we just adopted another girl, Michelle, so now we have a 4-woman wolf pack that goes to the races all the time, and Ashley has a 2-seater truck, Taylor has a 4-seater, but everyone likes to take the Danger Ranger, and all I got are some seats in the back, so it's tri-fittings, 4 chicks, 4 bikes, and a Danger Ranger, and like all of our gear, and all of our clothes and straighteners. It's just a little tight. It's just a little tight. So I need an upgrade, or I need a bigger truck.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you definitely need a bigger truck. But I love Rangers, so I don't know. You ask anybody in the Southwest, those things are gold because people like to romp those things out through the desert.
Well, I used to have an S10 before. Like, that was like my dream truck, was a white S10, and I got one. And then before that, I had a Mazda B2200, and it was literally held together by rust. The windows didn't roll up. The thing was a beater, but that was like my heaven on earth. It was my first one, so I had a little sweet spot for it. But yeah, I'm part of the little truck clan and the queen of it. So
we got to keep you in a Ford.
I just feel weird driving a bigger truck.
We got to keep you in a Ford. I'm sorry, we got to keep you in a Ford.
Oh, I know. I love Fords. They're great. And Taylor's actually selling her truck, so maybe I'll buy hers. I can fit more crap in it.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I guess we need to wrap this deal up. But yeah, as always, lots of fun, and we'll do it again next week. I get to go to Maine here.
Yeah.
I get to go to Maine here on Wednesday, so I've never been to Maine before. I may actually be almost as far north as Winnipeg. I'm gonna have to look on the map, but I might be as far north as you are.
Yeah. Well, actually, next week I will not be here. I'm going to be down south at Millville, so. Yeah, I'll actually be able to bring you guys some live racing action and tell you what's going on from the ground level, because right now I've just been able to look online or whatever I watch on the internet. So I'll actually have some good stuff for you, and hopefully we'll be able to pump out a moto adventure video. It'll be good. So I'll bring you guys some action.
Awesome. Well, we will talk soon, Amy, and take it easy.
Yep, have a good one, guys, and talk soon. And again, if anybody knows of a vintage motorcycle national or big race or event or anything that's going on, hit me up on Twitter or my Instagram, because I really want to head down there and check it out. So it'll be fun.
For sure. We'll get the hunt on for you. We'll find something.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Ami Houde calling in and talking a little bit of everything. But we got to wrap things up here, kind of running up against the gun as normal. But yeah, been a fun show, man. Definitely got to give a big shout out to Dani, Brendo, Loren, Amy, AMA Pro Flat Track, and everybody that that made things possible today. We got some motocross coming up this weekend from Millville. We got Lucas from Glen Helen, Rally America New England Forest Rally. What more can I say? It is huge. RallyAmericaRadio.com. We will have you covered this weekend, Friday, Saturday, probably even Thursday. So Rally America Radio, that is your home for Rally America New England Forest Rally. Also got some Global Rallycross doubleheader from Detroit coming up, and that KMC Wheels Summer Jeep Bash. You definitely want to get dialed in if you're out in Long Beach area, July 18th, 11 to 5. More information at KMC Wheels Facebook page at KMC Wheels or their Instagram at KMC Wheels. So check them out. Big shout out to Polaris, Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, UPR.com, Blue Resort and Casino, JMR Performance Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, and Intense Tees. Give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Down and Dirty Show or DownandDirtyShow.com for all those back episodes. I'm on Periscope as well at JimBeaver15. And give Ami Houde a follow at AmiHoude71 on Instagram and Twitter as well as Facebook. We've got a new app dropping soon, but right now you can get the old one available on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. I'll be at New England this weekend. Hopefully you tune into Rally America Radio. Have a great week. As always, game on.